Hi everybody, welcome to ECE 101. This is week 1 of Intro to Early Childhood Education. First, just a few announcements. Welcome. I want you to please notice that weeks 1 through 3 of our course are a little bit easier, and week 4 is not quite so heavy on the assignment end. The reason for that is to give you a little extra time to complete your final paper, which will be used in place of a final exam. Also, our Pinterest assignments are back. I'm sure you're excited about that. We are, of course, using our e-textbooks again. And if you find any extra time, you are welcome to work ahead in the course. Some examples might be posting your initial discussion board postings or working on weekly assignments or Pinterest assignments that are coming due soon in the weeks ahead. The only thing that you cannot work ahead on is responding to classmates on your discussion boards or taking the quizzes. So please keep those in the weeks that they are assigned in. Our first question of the week that we had was, can I take more than one class at a time? And this is kind of a yes and no answer. Normally, no. We like you to focus on one course at a time. You need to be putting aside anywhere from 15 to 20 hours per week for one single course. So it goes to show you that taking two is going to be very busy, especially if you have a part-time or a full-time job or perhaps children to take care of. So all these courses are designed to work around your schedule. It's mainly set to be one course at a time. However, I've had a couple people double up and take two classes at a time for a short term, but please know there's a process to go through on this. It has to be okayed by the college and also by financial aid to make sure you have enough money within that same semester to pay for the extra class. And so if something were to come up that you were to need to do more than one class, please contact us first. We'll look into it and see if it's possible, okay? So this week we have Chapter 1, the scope of and need for early childhood education. This is where we learn a little bit about why we're here and the importance of ECE. I love this quote. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And we could even replace that final word with teacher. So please know that this is the area that you have chosen, and you're not just a teacher in the classroom of these children, you're also leading them. So get ready to take on that role. Early childhood education can be affected by, of course, the economy, whether we have that extra money, changes in family life, growing public awareness and public support, and more people realize that ECE is an important part of a child's life. Changes in the families that we're seeing is we're seeing an increasing number of dual income families, but also we're seeing an increasing number of single parent households. So these can both impact early childhood education. We're also seeing a declining influence of extended family, and that would mean maybe parents or grandparents on extended family due to mobility. So what we're basically saying there is, because we're more mobile than we used to be, lots of times we don't have immediate family nearby to help with childcare or for early childhood education. So parents, caregivers are reaching out to ECE centers instead to help fill that role. So it definitely has an impact on the family. The purposes of early childhood education, there are several. First of all, the most basic, of course, is care, keeping them safe, feeding them during the day, nurturing them in a developmentally appropriate setting. Yes, that's the basis. However, there's also enrichment for that child, providing experiences for the children that they may not get at home. So some examples might be the field trips to the zoo or the museum, or the guest speakers that sometimes come to ECE centers, like the fire department, the policemen, area artists. There's a list that could go on and on. So they provide sometimes enrichment for your child. And then also compensation. And this means compensating for some lack in the child's background. So for some reason, this child is a little behind in a certain area, and ECE can help them possibly get caught up before they start school, or at least put them on the right path so that this developmental areas where we're needing compensation at can be addressed. So care, enrichment, compensation, lots of different roles. Organization of ECE programs. There are different program settings that we'll look at on the next slide. There are different ages of children depending on how the center groups them. And then there are also varying sources for program support. So first, let's look at the program settings. The main two that we look at are family child care homes and center-based programs. So family child care homes might be either considered small or large. Some families build onto their home to expand their child care program, or center-based, which is in a separate building. It's a business all its own. Tends to be a little bit larger than family child care homes. I'd also like to add, though, to family child care homes, I believe being a nanny could be placed in this category as well. This is a growing area that we're seeing around our area. More and more people would rather their child be able to stay at home, but also receive care and enrichment, and sometimes nannies can fill this niche. Okay, the ages of the children that we normally deal with are infants and toddlers, and there's a big boom for infant classrooms right now. Preschoolers, so the 3s and the 4s, and then school-age children, so they've entered preschool or kindergarten. We generally do up to 3rd grade with our program. So different age groups. Let's take a look real quick at the Oklahoma provider ratios. It's important that you're familiar with this because, especially if you're in an ECE center, these ratios have to be strictly adhered to. So here's an example, 0 to 12 months old. There is a maximum ratio of 1 to 4. That means 1 teacher for every 4 infants. And a maximum group size in a single classroom is 8. Okay? 12 to 23 months, 1 to 6 ratio, maximum group size 12. 2-year-olds, 1 to 8 ratio, 1 teacher to every 8 children, maximum group size 16. I don't know if you've ever been in a classroom with 16 2-year-olds, but it is very busy. And if you had 16 2-year-olds, that means you're going to need to have at least 2 teachers. Hopefully in this situation, you'd have 2 teachers and an aide. 3-year-olds, 1 to 12 is the ratio, maximum group size 24. 4 to 5-year-olds is a 1 to 15 ratio, maximum group size 30. And lastly, 6 years and older, a 1 to 20 ratio, 1 teacher for every 20 children with a maximum group size of 40. We really don't want 40 children in a single classroom. It's like herding cats. So be sure you look over these, become familiar with them, and know that they're very important. If you're running a home daycare, these numbers are a little different because oftentimes we're dealing with mixed age groups in a home daycare. However, DHS has ratios up for mixed age groups as well. Next, what do we have? The sources of program support, as mentioned a few slides ago. We may have for-profit programs where parents and caregivers are paying maybe a monthly tuition. We have nonprofit programs, family cooperatives, employer supported programs. An example would be a daycare within a building itself. University college affiliated programs. A lot of colleges try to provide this because they realize it's hard for a student to find daycare when they're only needing it for maybe a few hours a day. So it's a great opportunity for universities. We have publicly supported programs, Head Start, amazing, state and public school involvement, and we have military child care. So there's lots of different sources for support. If we look at defining quality in an ECE classroom, there's lots of different things that we look at, and you as an ECE student will become more and more familiar with these with each class that you take. So say we're going into an ECE classroom, a single classroom, we might look at the child to adult ratio, how many teachers are there, how many kids are there, the group size overall, the staff qualifications. Some ECE centers will have a minimum of a high school diploma for their teachers. Some will have a minimum of a bachelor's degree for their teachers. So it varies widely. But it's okay to ask about it. What are their requirements? Developmental appropriateness of a program. Do they use curriculum that's appropriate for your child's age? Child and adult interaction, that's pretty easy to see. Just go in the classroom and see how they are interacting. Now, if you were looking for a job, maybe you're touring a facility, this would be a very important thing for you because you want to know if this program is going to be a good fit for you as an employee. So how well do they get along? Is it a natural flowing interaction? Staff consistency, do they have a lot of overturn in their building? Respect and concern for staff, are you seeing that with their managers? How is the physical environment, both inside and outside? And then lastly, do they have calls for family involvement? Do they have activities where families can come down and feel like they're really part of the program? So these are just a few things you might look for. I love this quote, daycare poses no risk for children provided that is high quality. Poor quality daycare is risky for children everywhere. The cost of poor quality daycare is measured in children's lives. High quality daycare costs only money. So sometimes that extra money is worth it to provide your child with that leg up in the world. That was Sandra Scar. And lastly, questions. If you have any questions this week, please feel free to contact me. Facebook, email, phone call, I'll accept all of the above. Glad you're here and I hope you enjoy week 1. Thank you so much.